There's a bias that we cannot deny that we tend to invest in people that look like us.
The capital allocators have to be in the positions before that the next generation of people can come up.
How many of them look like me, by example? How many of them are women of color? And one of the best ways to actually do that is with results. Young entrepreneurs can relate to their success and aspire to be like them. Not only build amazing companies from Latin America to the global arena, but also to make money.
Welcome to Venture Ahead. It's a series of podcasts recorded by IU University. These were recorded in Porto Alegre in Brazil at the 4th edition of the South Summit. We got to speak to people who had done keynotes, former IE students. We got to speak to people who were on panels, people that we just met and found interesting. Do this at each of the South Summits because it's a great opportunity to talk to some of the people. So thank you for getting this far. Listen to the end and let us know what you think. Hello there, I'm Joe Haslam. I'm a professor at IE Business School in Madrid, and we're back here at South Summit in Porto Alegre to record a series of podcasts with some of the most interesting guests that are here that have come to join us today. And I'm here this morning with Damaris. Good morning, Damaris. How are you?
I'm good. It's a little bit hot outside, so very happy to be here in the IC.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's get straight into it, and we want to talk about investing, particularly in. There's always a criticism of people who invest that they give the money to the wrong people. That there's people out there who are much more deserving, but investors tend to be pattern matchers. They tend to invest in people who have sort of had good results before, and they're missing out on exciting opportunities. So where do you think we are in this debate? Are we getting better or are we getting worse?
I do believe that we're getting better. At least we're more aware of what the past inequalities are, especially in Latin America. I think this is something that happens in a lot of emerging markets in which there's a bias that we cannot deny that we tend to invest in people that look like us. So whenever the capital gets allocated in a specific demographic that looks alike because it's reliable for the people that allocate that capital, it's just like the beginning of a change that will not change unless someone points it out or starts to be aware of it. So in a region that we have very diverse and unequal background socially on education and geographically distributed, it's naive to think that things will not change unless we deliberately go the extra mile to promote the change towards that. So yeah, I think we're getting better, or at least that I want to think. But at least I do believe that we're more aware of it. And in the 2021-2022 madness, in which we saw a lot of new funds and emerging managers to take the leap forward and start building their own funds, I think it was a good reality check of really what this industry can become in the following 10 to 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's my own observation. My own observation is that awareness is certainly much better, but that the numbers are still not catching up, and it's particularly when you're coming from such a low base, there's no excuse, I mean, I've seen single figure estimations for underrepresented founders, I mean, which is, we're not even sort of looking at something like that's 20 or 30 and trying to get it to 50. But I've seen like single figures. So talk to me then. I mean, I'm sure you've given this before. It's probably the speech you give most. But what is the case for looking at underrepresented founders and that you advance when you meet people who perhaps are not familiar with this area?
I do believe that we, the asset allocators, have a great responsibility because it's on us to actually build those bridges that are not common in an industry that otherwise will be just letting in the people that has access to it. So starting by there, there's a huge gap between people who understand and knows that there's an industry out there that is willing to allocate capital in their ideas and to help them to develop their own startups and so on. So first of all, I think working with academia is very important because we have university now. I mean, 2024, we have more universities and tech specialized professionals across many other geographies than before, or at least the past decade. So I do believe that starting there, it's super important. Also, we have to be responsible that our teams actually represent the reality that we want to invest in. If you have a single demographic dominated team, investment team, they will tend to allocate capital in something that they feel familiar with. And we're talking not only about gender, but also a ethnic background, a social background, and a academic background, as we mentioned before. So I do believe that it's in our hands to actually shift the narrative and the messages and just help those talented entrepreneurs to get access to understand how this industry works and then just allocate that.
It's certainly true that if you're saying, if you're the child of an immigrant and you're pitching to someone who's also the child of an immigrant,
of course,
you are more likely not just to sort of like be comfortable around this person and explain, but also the person can understand. They can pick up on certain triggers when, people who succeeding really matters. There's literally like there's people on the line here. There's when someone says, no, I'm, someone perhaps coming from that background. So I guess what you're saying is that the capital allocators have to be in the positions before that the next generation of people can come up.
Definitely.
And the other thing that I very much agree what you say is that, and it's something that people perhaps who come from business schools don't underappreciate, is that when you explain the venture capital industry to somebody who perhaps hasn't been to business schools, they're like, you mean you just give me money, and even if I lose it all, I don't have to give it back?
Exactly. It's so crazy. It just sounds like, I don't know, a pyramid scheme or something, right? But I think that's part of the root of the problem, right? This is an industry that is not or has not historically welcoming for anyone. I do come from a very different background as well. I studied communication and digital media, and I'm doing something more related to finance.
Well, I would argue that BC is more related to communication than it is to finance.
Probably, yes.
I mean, what have been your experiences there? Do you find that you have to sort of mentor or encourage founders even after you've given the check and saying, no, you have to push down the door?
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is a never-ending work, definitely. Yeah. Most of our entrepreneurs, I'll say that, or at least we try to be as fair as possible as when analyzing companies. So we create a system that allows us to ask the same questions for different teams and to assess their capability or the capacity to build with the tools and the platform that they have access to. So judging a team that comes from the peripheric area of Peru, that it's not near Lima or anything, by the capacity of building what they have achieved until now, and then see the potential on that for the future, on the same bar or with the same critical eye that you are judging, I don't know, a team that probably is in Mexico or in Colombia that comes from a very successful startup that the whole founding team probably have an MBA or something, with the capacity of building until that moment and see the vision for the future, right?
Nearly all of them actually, and I know I'm in a business school, but if you look at the unicorns in Latin America, nearly all of them are MBAs for business school. That's nearly all who they are. Which, it doesn't have to be the case, but it is the case.
Yeah, and you tell me, I mean, from the magazine covers and the people that is highlighted in the press, how many of them look like me, by example? How many of them are women of color? I mean, brownish.
Well, we're all women of color, but sometimes that color is white.
Well, yes, that's a different color, right? Yeah, that's my point. And in our team, I'll say that more of half of it, we have also entrepreneurial experience, and we do not look like, or we don't feel represented by the traditional media standard of archetype.
Yeah.
And most of our entrepreneurs neither. So yeah, of course you have edge cases and so on, but the point here, or the point that I want to make here before just going all over the place again, is that we need those entrepreneurs to scavenger their way towards getting that attention that you mentioned before. And one of the best ways to actually do that is with results. And results actually help this whole industry to thrive, because they show that it's possible to not only build amazing companies from Latin America to the global arena, but also to make money. So both investors and LPs and other asset allocators can just keep fueling this whole ecosystem, right? So.
And do you think, and again, I'm asking you the question rather than knowing the answer. One of the things is that education has been kind of democratized, and that's true. There's, I was in Chile like 20 years ago, and it's sort of nothing like YouTube or the internet or anything like that. Whereas now, you can get access to podcasts and blogs and things like that. So
information,
yeah. So do you think that is, that people are identifying a lot more with people, say, in Silicon Valley or, elsewhere in Latin America? Do you think that then they feel, if you have grown up, this is certainly true in Spain, that if you've grown up hearing voices from Silicon Valley, when you get to meet those people, you're less intimidated because you've heard them many times. So
and you can relate to their stories and to see your future success in what they are building right now. Yeah.
So I mean, are people in Latin America, like, are they listening to like the All In podcast, and are they, reading biographies, or do they still kind of, I don't know, they don't relate to that?
No, definitely. We have some success stories from very prominent founders, the founders from Corner Shop or Rappi or His or many others, in which young entrepreneurs can relate to their success and aspire to be like them. Because as any other thing in the world, you cannot aspire to be something or someone that you cannot feel related to.
So those, before you have to be it, you have to see it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise you cannot think that that's even possible to do or to achieve. So yeah.
So who are your heroes?
My heroes. Oh, I just met recently Nico Secasi in January back in Uruguay, and he was one of my, the people that I really wanted to be in this industry, and was kind of fangirling behind the bars and asking someone from Microsoft, hey, do you know him? Because I just want to have a conversation. And the amazing thing of that is that we're still in a very close industry that almost everyone knows each other. So he was well aware of what we were doing for the last decade in 500 LATAM, and I was like surprised. It was like a very nice surprise.
And what did you ask? What questions did you ask?
Oh, I was just asking him about the industry in general, like the progress that we have made, the momentum that we're building, because 2024 is a very specific, very anticlimactic year, definitely. After the party that we have in 2021 and 22, this seems the year of rebuilding. And I do believe that we're living in a historical year in which we're determining or we're going to build the basis of how the next decade of Latin America in VC industry will look like, at least in the early stage. Because we used to, with the whole like capital madness, to have these companies building on VC money that was very cheap to get access to. So blitz scaling for any other business model was the rule, right?
And I mean, and there were people in Tiger who from LATAM who were giving that money. This was not people who were not familiar with the region, so they believed in the story.
Exactly, but the thing is that we have not unlocked the capital access that we should if we want to keep that pace.
One of the things, Harry Stebbings, who does 20 VC, he was interviewing Simon from Rappi, and one of the points Simon made was that he said, you don't understand. He said, like, if I can create a company in LATAM that has, like, really does change the lives of people. Somebody from Europe perhaps builds a better accounting system, which is great. He said, you have no idea, he said, the effect. And he didn't just talk about Rappi.
It's transformational. And you can actually improve the life of millions of people in Latin America and build $1 billion business, which is the best of both worlds, right? But the thing is that we still don't have, or we're missing links on the chain of value that we should build in order to have this system that replicates success stories, right? So right now, we have been allocating capital for 13 years now, almost 14 in the pre-seed stage. And there are so many players there still, but still there's a lack of capital for that stage. And then you move to Series A, and most of the funds that were doing growth are now doing seed and Series A. But then afterwards, what is happening? We have a lack of capital in which we kind of rely on international funds, such as the ones that come from US or Europe or a couple of from Asia, to actually help those companies get capital for the later stages in order to keep building that future success stories, but materialize that. It's harder than before. Than before 2022 now, because you cannot sell the dream. Now you have to go direct into the numbers and to materialize those.
Yeah, you got to be profitable much more quickly.
Exactly.
So just maybe we have to finish up now. The new phase is to we have to be like a Rosalia song. We have to be over in 2.5 minutes. But just to say one thing, just the first thing is just kind of anything you've read or seen recently that you want to make a recommendation. I mean, everyone sort of thinks that. So, any what things do you listen to, or perhaps books you've read, or perhaps people that you think should be more widely known, deserve more widely attention?
Well, we just started an effort 1.5 years ago or a year ago. One of my business partners, a podcast that is called Ángeles de Latam, which is a very honest look into the investment strategy for some of the most prominent angel investors in Latin America, which I believe is very enlightening for entrepreneurs that are looking for their first round or second round to understand how does that side of the conversation looks like. That is one of them. And I do recommend this book to every other entrepreneur that I've been talking with, Smart Brevity. The book from the guys that create Axios, the newsletter.
No, you see.
It's a very easy to read book, and actually on the communication side, which is my passion, I'll say, it's very interesting to see how they help you to abstract your ideas and to communicate better effectively, especially if you're working with teams, diverse teams or teams from different areas that had to have a very mutually exclusive, comprehensive communication style. That it's a very good book for it.
Okay, I'm so happy I asked you that, because there's always a book out there that you think everyone's heard about, but actually you should be reading. And I think that if I can summarize our conversation, paying more emphasis on communication is something, because unless people know what you're about and what you're trying to do, it doesn't really matter how good you are. So, muchísimas gracias. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and enjoy the rest of South Summit, Porto Alegre.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is Professor Joe Haslam again, just signing off to thank you for listening to the podcast. They're available on Amazon, they're available on Spotify, they're available on Apple, and they're available on iVoox. Please talk to your friends about them. Tell us what you liked and recommend them. We want to get these ideas spread, and they're a very important part of the community we're trying to build here at IE University. So thank you for listening to Venture Ahead.